So when I tried this game before, when it was like just a demo, the game on this exact same scene, the exact same area on ultra settings, it gave me like 40 to 45 FPS or 46 FPS. It wasn't really performing pretty good. Now it's more than 60 FPS. And this is ultra setting. It's not something, you know, that is really wow that they improved it by much, that it's giving me 100 FPS. But still, you know, 60 FPS is pretty good without any DLA, without any frame generation. And the one thing that I hate about this game is that, like, frame generation, you have to like restart the game, when most games don't require the don't require you to restart the game to for the frame generation to take effect. But yeah, developers, they do what developers do. So yeah, you have to restart the game for frame generation. But otherwise, like, there's improvement, like 20 FPS at least, like 20 FPS uplift from what it was before to now at launch. It's pretty good. I mean, it's impressive. The game does not really look like something that's wow, out of this world, like Senua Hellblade 2 or like Indiana Jones and The Great Circle. That's not really, graphically, it's not really that good. In cutscenes, sometimes it looks impressive. The water physics are good, but, you know, it's not really that, you know, far from like Alan Wake, let's say. Like, even Alan Wake, it looks a little bit better than this. But yeah, this game is using Lumen. Again, Lumen is pretty intensive. Like, yeah, Lumen is intensive. So, and the one thing that I don't like is just like frame generation required to restart the game. And even on that spot right there, when it used to like drop to like 20 FPS, it doesn't drop to 20 FPS anymore. Let me just zoom in. You can see like consistent FPS. When back then, when I used to zoom, it used to drop like to like 20 FPS or something. Now it's like pretty consistent FPS. It stays like above 60 FPS all the time. But this is again 1590, and even the power, like at DLAA before, it used to go like to like 500 and something, like not just 510 or drops over 4. It never dropped to like 400. It never dropped to 400s, like even like 490. It never saw it on DLA. It was like 570, 560, 80, sometimes 90 on DLA. Now 520, 510 like maximum, when it drops like to 480, 450 sometimes. And so right now, let's go and use DLSS. And again, I'm saying this for your sake, not for me. Just I'm benchmarking the game, so you should be doing this. What I'm gonna do, always go for like the second highest setting if you have like the highest graphics card, or like the most powerful graphics card. Never go ultra. Ultra is just like for photos and like screenshots, and you know, it doesn't make sense while gaming, because as you can see, like going to very high does not really change anything, but it gave me like 40 FPS uplift. So while I'm benchmarking the game, I'm gonna be using ultra, because I'm trying to see what the game is capable of doing, what is the level of performance of the game. But yeah, always use very high, or like the second, or high. If it's like ultra is the highest, use high. So yeah, right for this game, you can use very high or high. They're pretty good. Very high is like indistinguishable from like ultra. So yeah, always use very high. Right now, let's go use DLSS. Where's gonna be DLSS? It's gonna be right here. Okay, so DLSS on ultra is actually pretty good. It's actually close to very high, as you can see. Like very high was above 100 FPS all the time. Like how it was like 110 something. I don't remember. I just saw it and I don't remember it. So now it drops in 90s, but it's pretty good. You know, 140 FPS, or like let's say 30 FPS, because it was going to the 70s sometimes. Increase. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Like this scene right here, it's like a solid 30 FPS increase from like 60 something to now like 90 something, right? Pretty good. This is a good this is what it means, is that the game scales up well with, you know, graphics drops, or like using DLSS, or you know, using upscaling, or you like dropping the resolution. It scales pretty well. That's what it means. And as you can see, sometimes it says limited by CPU. It's only when there's like some probably loading something, or like shader compilation or something. But it's actually, as you can see, most of the time it's GPU limited. And only when it spikes, because there are some spikes, that's when it's like goes to CPU limited. But as you can see, my CPU is only dropping to like 95, like at most. It's not really dropping that much. Yeah, it's pretty good. This is like the intro area. I don't want to really go like further. Probably gonna pause if I want to go further. I'm gonna pause and then not show you how to go further until like you figure it out on your own, because this is, I don't want to spoil anything for you. But yeah, so let's use DLSS Performance. Let's say DLSS Performance is what you like, and actually DLSS Performance pretty aggressive, but right now with DLSS transformer model looks exactly like native, and there's no action. It actually looks a little bit better because it actually enhances and sharpens the textures. You can go watch on Hardware Unboxed for that. I'm not just talking out of my ass. Actually, DLSS Performance sometimes looks better than native. Sometimes go watch Hardware Unboxed. And yeah, the drop from DLSS Quality to DLSS Performance is not really that impressive. Let me just see. This scene was like 94. Now it's oh, okay, so it's like 20 FPS more. It is that impressive. I thought it was like just 10 FPS more, but no, it actually pretty good. So the 1% lows, let me reset them for DLSS Performance, and as you can see, they are on the 90s, like trailing right behind the actual current FPS. And right now it doesn't really say GPU limited too much, because sometimes it drops to like below 95. As you can see, it goes to CPU limited most of the time. I think it's just because of Lumen, because again, Lumen is just not just intensive on the GPU. Lumen is also intensive on the CPU. Every ray tracing implementation hardware, or Lumen, or like Lumen hardware as well, is intensive on the CPU as well. But in this game, there are like a lot of foresty areas in this beginning of the game, section of the game. So I don't think that ray tracing is gonna be really that impressive. This is not Alan Wake by any means when it comes to like ray tracing. Alan Wake uses path tracing, which is way better than Lumen in every aspect of lighting and reflections and everything. But still, Lumen demands the same power as path tracing. So yeah, and as you can see, the game actually knows its boundaries. You know, it's using not a 6.8 or 6.9 gigabytes of VRAM, which is, let's round up to 7 gigabytes of VRAM on 4K, which is pretty good, pretty impressive. Not intensive, but pretty impressive. Yeah, this is pretty good. So if I want to use frame generation, I have to restart the game. So let's do that right now. Okay, right now, let's go through the settings. DLSS is set to quality, and frame generation is set to 2x instead of 4x. But as you can see, 160 FPS, and it's running pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it's running pretty awesome. 160 FPS is enough, but you need to have a 40 GPU. Like, sometimes you mod it into the 30 series and 20 series, because you can use FSR to DLSS to FSR kind of mod, or use OptiScaler for any other GPU, and you're gonna have the same thing. So yeah, Ultra 160 FPS, pretty good. Let's see 4x. Let's go down and use 4x, because 4x is a specialty of the 50 series, or lossless scaling if you have lossless scaling. 260 FPS, which is, again, probably not 494s, but yeah, it has its computational costs, and the upper you go, like from 2x to 4x, it's gonna cost more to render those fake frames. But hey, at least it doesn't really seem that it's laggy. 4x for me, if I have like 90 or something, 80 above, FPS above like 80 FPS, I don't feel any input lag. But some people don't feel any input lag like from 30. So it depends on your sensitivity to input lag and what you like. But hey, 250 FPS is pretty impressive. They are dumb frames. They are, as you call it, fake frames. But let me just see if you can clip. Oh, you can't clip through it no more. So they actually listened, because before you could clip like through the cow. and some other objects, like you could clip through them, but now you can't. Okay, this is a big improvement. They listen to reviews, you know. This is a good thing when developers listen to like YouTube reviews. That's good. They improved the performance like by at least 20 FPS, and while looking the same, and added very high. I don't think that very high was on it, because only like high or ultra before. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go back to the video to see. So yeah, 8 gigabytes, 0.5, 4K DLSS quality, and frame generation combined, only 8.6 gigabyte of VRAM. This is what I'm talking about. It's not the GOAT, but it's not. This is what I'm talking about. So let's switch to 1440p and see how it runs. Okay, now 1440p, still the same settings. As you can see, 1440p is still ultra settings. DLAA, no frame generation. Let's go. I mean, this is 5 gigabytes of VRAM. You can run this ultra on a 3060 Ti, on a 3050, if we can run it, because they have 8 gigabytes of VRAM. They have more VRAM than this game needs. And 99 FPS, above 100 FPS. It runs a little bit better than the DLSS quality with 4K somehow, because they should be running the same, but this native 1440p runs a little bit better. Let me just go back to that exact scene that I was before and actually judge it from there, because that's the scene that I know, like it was like 93, 94 FPS. If it gives me 93, 94 FPS again, then it's running better. Oh, running worse. Okay, it's running. Oh, it's the same, 95. So 93, 95. So it's the same. So it's not running worse or better. All right, so now it's increased to 6 gigabytes, 0.6 of VRAM, which is still below 8 gigabytes of VRAM, which is pretty good. You know, this game can actually run, even at ultra 4K, can run on 8 gigabyte GPUs. If you use upscaling, it's gonna drop. If you don't use upscaling, just use native resolution. And yeah, pretty good. I mean, this game is running pretty good now. It was like, I'm gonna be parroting myself. It was fucking trash. Okay, before on the demo, when they released the demo, that demo was trash, and I said they still have like 3 months until they actually released the game, and they actually improved it by at least 20 FPS. So yeah, pretty good. Love to see it. So now let's use DLSS quality. Let's go back, settings, drop to DLSS all the way down. I wish they had DLSS like on the way up with resolution and stuff. Like most games, from 100 to 120. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let's reset the 1% lows. And as you can see, the 1% lows are still somewhat of the same. And now it's saying, sometimes it says CPU limited when it drops to like below 95 of GPU utilization. Say CPU limited, just to like a hitch, and it comes back to GPU limited because it's just only loading something, or like I don't feel it. I'm not sure if because of VRR. I do see that the frame time graph goes between like 6 to like 7 milliseconds, which is never gonna be noticeable to the naked eye. But yeah, I think it's just because dropping below 95 GPU utilization, it's reporting that it's the GPU waiting on the CPU for something, and then it just goes back again to like being GPU limited. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, they enhanced performance. They enhanced. I mean, they didn't enhance the game because the game still looks the same. But let's use DLSS Performance and see a more aggressive upscaling behavior. Let's go. Probably gonna drop. Oh, it did not drop my GPU utilization. Good. It gave me 10 or 12 more FPS because I was already on like 123 FPS when I was looking this way. So now it's like 136. Oh, now it's going creeping up. Okay, 137. So yeah, 136 FPS, which is like 10 or 12 FPS uplift from DLSS quality. And this is 1440p, and as you can see, my GPU is like, you know, dripping down to like that 95. It's starting to get actually bottlenecked, not really 100% utilized. That's why it's not giving me more FPS. But if it was, you know, 100% utilized, probably it's gonna give me that full 20 or like 25 FPS that it did give me before. So I need a key for this, and I know where to find the key. So let me just go look for it, and actually I'm gonna pause it here to use frame generation. Okay, now frame generation with DLSS Quality. I'm only gonna use 2x because this is 1440p again, and yeah, you don't want to be you know, pushing your luck, because frame generation has some artifacts still, but they're not noticeable once you're like immersed in the game like world. But yeah, you don't want to be pushing your luck with 1440p, because 1440p has way less pixels, not more, less pixels than 4K. So yeah, you're still gonna be seeing artifacts. So as you can see, 7.3 gigabytes of VRAM and 180 to 190 FPS. Somewhat, you know, varying between the two, but it's still, you know, playable. And in confined areas, like let's see, like right here, like goes above 200 FPS. Of course, it's gonna go above 200 FPS. So let's just open the barn door or whatever this is, the forest door or whatever this is. This is the key. All right, and what is this? Try and show to have proceed to main objective. Open a database and navigate the investigation tab. Yeah, okay, I got it. I read all this like the first time I played the demo. Oh, yeah. So as you can see, 7.5 gigabytes of VRAM, frame generation, and DLSS quality. All these combined, and I think you can use this like on 3060 Ti and gain pretty much a good FPS amount, or like 3070 or something that has less than 8 gigabytes of VRAM. You can mod frame generation in on those GPUs, even the 2070 Super or like 2060 or like something that has 8 gigabytes of VRAM. I'm not, you know, recommending to play this game with a 2060 that has 6 gigabytes of VRAM, because that's not gonna be able to play it. As you can see, this game uses a little more than 6 gigabytes of VRAM. Sometimes it uses less than like 6, but yeah, you don't want to be pushing your luck. I don't think that's... you're probably going to be using low, you know, low settings or something like that. I don't have those GPUs, so I can't report on those. Yeah, I haven't had a 6 gigabyte GPU in a long time. I have a 4 gigabyte GPU, which is a 1050 Ti, but that's irrelevant right now. It's never gonna be playing this game. Never gonna be able to, like, even probably launch it. 1050 Ti? Kidding me? Alright, so, yeah, let's drop down to 1080p. Okay, now 1080p, as you can see, still ultra, still no upscaling, no frame generation. Let's go and see. This is 150 FPS of good bliss. Again, this is 1080p. I wouldn't put it past it to be 120 FPS, 150 FPS. And this game is not really, I guess, again, I don't want to be parroting myself, but yeah, I'm gonna parrot myself. And this game is not really impressive visually. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes in cutscenes, it looks pretty good, but it's not really that, you know, that impressive during gameplay. It's another game, you know. This is how I see it. And I think I have the key already, because I restarted the game. I think the gate is still closed. All right, let's see if I still have the key to open this. Do I have the key? Yep, I have it. And let's go and see the forest. Okay, let's actually, I'm gonna try the DLSS quality, but that's about the only thing that I'm gonna try with 1080p, and then I'm gonna move on to another resolution, which is 8K. Okay, so DLSS quality, 1080p, and as you can see, 130 FPS, still above, you know, 120, but not really by much. 6.8 gigabytes of VRAM. Again, even at 1080p, it's not really dropping below 6 gigabytes of VRAM. It dropped like below like 6. It was like 5.8 or something, but that was probably just because I just launched the game and I didn't really move throughout the game for it to accumulate that VRAM utilization. But hey, it stays, sometimes it says like CPU limited, but it just goes back again. This game is pretty much good, you know. It doesn't really stay CPU limited too much. Still above 95% GPU utilization, which is pretty good. But hey, yeah, probably gonna switch to 8K right now. Okay, before we go to 8K, let's just try 2.5 or 2.25 4K, which is basically 6K. and ultra settings, DLAA, no upscaling. Let's go back to the game, and 39 FPS, 36 FPS, 12 gigabytes of VRAM. This is 6K again, and right now, as you can see, it does not go to CPU limited. Like it goes like, oh, it went. Okay, now it did. Why does it go to CPU limited? Probably it's because loading something. I'm not really sure. Probably loadings because it's 89% utilization of the GPU, but it's probably when it spikes, it goes to CPU limited. I have to look into that and see what's wrong with that thing. Let me just gather this thing because I'm gonna need it for the continuation of the story. I know that to open that door, and yeah, 34 FPS ain't really feeling pretty good. So let's use DLSS Quality. Let's use DLSS Quality with 6K. I don't want to make this video really quick above, you know, the regular resolutions, because this is not really regular resolution. So let's go. Now it's 56 FPS using 10 gigabytes instead of 12 of VRAM, which, well, it's 10 point. It was 10.7. Now it dropped to 10.2, which is still, you know, still not. I mean, it's pretty good. This GPU has 32, so it doesn't really matter. This GPU does not really have that VRAM problem, so it doesn't really. This GPU doesn't care. I'm not gonna lie to you. The game right now looks way better than DLSS on you know 4K. It looks way better than DLAA on 4K. To my eyes, even I have like a 4K screen, does not matter. Like it looks like some very intense super sampling, or like MSAA 0.12 or like 0.16, if there was ever MSAA 0.16, but I don't think that there was MSAA 0.16. But hey, it looks as if it was like that. Let's try the DLSS Performance. DLSS Performance probably gonna bring me up to above 60, of course, because I was 56 already. Now it's 70 FPS, pretty good. 70 FPS, dropped to 60, now still 10 point, oh, now it dropped to 9 gigabytes, 0.7 of VRAM. Again, this GPU does not really have VRAM problems, but if you have like less than 10 gigabytes GPU, like 3080 or something, like a 30, oh, there's only 3080 that has 10 gigabytes actually. If you have 4070 with 12 gigabytes of it, you can run this on 6K. With DLSS Performance, but it's not gonna give you like good FPS because that's just a 4070. This is a 5090. It's only giving me 70 FPS. Let's use frame generation right now with DLSS Performance. Actually, I'm gonna keep DLSS Performance and use frame generation 2x, not 4x, just 2x. Wow, it only gave me like from 70, like what, 50 FPS more, like less than 50 FPS, because it drops from like 120. It's still, it never locked to 120 anyway. Yeah, and as I said before, it says GPU limited all the time, like most of the time, unlike with what it was before. I need something to open this. I need a key. Actually, I'm not really focusing on the story right now. I'm just focusing on benchmarking. So yeah, let's move on to 8K. Okay, now 8K native, still ultra settings, no DLSS, no upscaling, no frame generation. As you can see, it's 23 FPS, not really good, not playable as per usual. You know, 23 FPS is not really playable FPS. As you can see, the app latency is 144 instead of the refresh rate to be 144. Yeah, as you can see, now it's like more GPU limited because it doesn't really drop from, oh, sometimes it drops to 95% of the GPU utilization, probably just because of shaders again. When you run through like a corridor of like loading something, it's I added that just to know where it is, you know, loading something, and where it's like it's actually compiling shaders or something. So that's why I added that. That has like no function, but just to tell me if the CPU is actually working overtime in a section or something like that. And as you can see, it's like more of GPU limited instead of CPU limited. If I want it to be CPU limited, I'm gonna drop it to 1080p and use DLSS Ultra Performance to drop the utilization of the GPU. But hey, The game runs pretty well. Let's go. Well, the game runs pretty well without 8K. On 8K, just for clarification, the game runs pretty well. It's not because of it's not even related to 8K. Saying the game runs pretty well overall, because on 4K they actually enhance the performance. All right, so now using the DLSS, and it has to take a little bit. No, it's probably gonna stay on 35 FPS now. 30 FPS before you felt like unplayable as well. Now it feels much smoother than 23 FPS. Yeah, it's using now 12 instead of 16 gigabytes of VRAM, and the GPU is less toasty than it was. Let's use the DLSS Performance. Now resume settings. DLSS Performance. I'm gonna keep in this location until I want to try another GPU. Then I'm gonna move on to another location. But hey, I'm gonna keep it here. As you can see, 50 FPS, still 12 gigabytes of VRAM. Now it dropped to 11.5, and the GPU is less toasty than it was before. Again, using less power and getting less hot. And the game actually still, I wouldn't really play it like this. This is just for the benchmark sake and see where the game can go. How far can I push the game until it breaks? It did show a little bit of lighting on the character's hand. I think the game as well. This game is not really meant for 8K or anything like that. The textures started to break, but when I used DLSS, it actually eliminated that, because the game is actually rendering on like 4K right now and upscaling to 8K. And that upscaling for from 4K to 8K is taking a toll on the GPU. That's why it's not 60, it's 46. This is how it was before on 4K native, without any DLSS or anything. This is the exact performance that it was on 4K native, like 46 FPS looking this way. And yeah, now you can get it on 8K 46 FPS, not 4K. So let's try frame generation. I know frame generation is gonna be, it's gonna suck at 40 FPS, but hey, let me do frame generation 2x and see. Yeah, I don't feel any input latency. I'm not gonna lie. 2x is pretty much, there's a little bit of input latency, but it's not really that big of an impact that it's gonna break the game immersion or something like that. In confined areas, as you can see, like it went from like 74 to like 84 or like 95, like that, looking that way. But yeah, it's not really that big of an impact of input latency. I can feel it now that I know what to look for. I can feel the input latency. But hey, let's try DLSS frame generation 4x, and that's gonna fuck up the input latency even more. Yeah, definitely. Even 120 FPS, and you can see that the app latency is like 25, but because I'm having the input latency of a 40 FPS instead of 120 FPS, I can feel the disconnect between the two. I mean, it looks sharp, it looks beautiful, but the input latency is actually making it a little bit unplayable. It's not as big of an impact as it with lossless scaling, for example, but still there is some impact. The game still feels floaty a little bit. It like when you move the character, it takes like half a second, like a third of a second for you to see that movement happen on the screen. But yeah, this is not what frame generation was meant for. Frame generation was meant for 4K, not 8. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end the video right here. If you like the video, press like. If you dislike it, press dislike. Let's discuss gaming, listening to gamers, studios listening to gamers actually improving their shit from their early builds to like their latest builds and their launch build. As you can see, this game that has no stutters. And yeah, subscribe, and see you in the next video.